Good afternoon and welcome to TVM News. Today is Friday, April 12th. I'm Casey Jeanette.
And I'm Nate McLean. Today we have news about big-time country artist Morgan Wallen being arrested late Sunday night.
We also have news about the Scranton Half Marathon that took place with 1,000 runners going strong for 13.1 miles.
And we'll be checking in with Emily Rowe for the weather, along with our sports anchor Vincent Goldschmidt to find out the latest in the sports world. A restaurant in Monroe County was caught in flames early Monday morning. Crews were called out at around 12:30 a.m. for a fire that destroyed the restaurant Uson on Route 611 and Bridge Street in Strouds Township. Firefighters said nearby buildings received minor smoke and heat damage. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, and there is no word on the cause. The restaurant owner has posted on Facebook saying that they plan to rebuild.
A large fight in the Weston Field area of Scranton ended with one person dead on Tuesday. Police said about 20 people broke out in a fight around 8 p.m. and gunfire was heard not long after the brawl began. One man was found to be shot at the scene and died at the hospital. The Lackawanna County DA's office reported they have a suspect in custody for the deadly shooting. Police returned to the scene Wednesday to collect further evidence. The story is still developing.
More than 1,000 runners took part in the Scranton Half Marathon on Sunday. Runners of the Scranton Half Marathon gathered around the truck and under the bleachers of Veterans Memorial Stadium before taking on the big race. The course leaves the stadium and weaves up and down the hills of Greenridge before reaching downtown. Throughout the race, the course was lined up with people rooting for the runners with bells. People of all ages were out on the course, toughing out all 13.1 miles of the race.
Marywood-University finally announced their new president on Tuesday. Lisa Laurie, an attorney and Luzerne County native, has been appointed to Marywood's 13th president and first layperson to take on the role. Only IHM sisters have held this position since Marywood's founding in 1915. Laurie will succeed Sister Mary Perisco on July 1st of this year. Sister Mary has served as president since 2016 and will be retiring on June 30th. Attorney Laurie earned her Bachelor of Science degree from Marywood and her law degree from Temple University. She currently works at a law firm in Philadelphia. She also previously served on Marywood's Board of Trustees. Laurie is committed to continuing the IHM legacy and maintaining Marywood's Catholic tradition.
Coming up next, we'll tell you about Norfolk Southern Rail Company reaching a whopping $600 million settlement.
I'm an actor in an ad that was given 12 seconds to remind you that if you're high, just don't drive. Because if you feel different, you drive different. It's illegal to drive high everywhere anyway.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
The Environmental Protection Agency has established its first ever limits for 6 types of per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances. These PFAS, also known as forever chemicals, are known to permanently linger in the air, water, and soil with little to no degradation. PFAS are associated with a higher risk of a variety of health conditions such as cancer, heart and thyroid diseases, high cholesterol, low birth weight, and reproductive issues. Unfortunately, most Americans already have PFAS in their bloodstream, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. 2 types of PFAS found on non-stick and stain-resistant products cannot exceed 4 parts per trillion in public drinking water. According to the EPA, water systems should aim to eliminate these chemicals as there is no level of safe exposure. The EPA estimates the prevention of thousands of deaths and serious illnesses when the plan is put into place.
Norfolk Southern Rail Company has reached a $600 million settlement after last year's devastating derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, that spilled toxic chemicals into the community. The agreement is meant to provide closure and flexibility to class action members. This could include healthcare costs, property restoration, and compensation for business loss for individuals and businesses. The train derailment took place on February 3, 2023, where 38 freight cars released hazardous chemicals into the surrounding environment, such as vinyl chloride and butyl acrylate, which are known to cause respiratory irritation and certain cancers. Residents had to temporarily evacuate the 1-mile radius around the crash while the rail company did a controlled chemical release to reduce the risk of explosion. A motion to approve Norfolk Southern's settlement is expected to be completed no later than April 19th.
Police in Doral, Florida have identified the suspected gunman they said was killed in an exchange of gunfire with officers following a dispute at a bar early Saturday that ended with a security guard dead and an officer shot and 6 innocent bystanders injured in the crossfire. 37-year-old Jamal Wayne Wood was identified as the shooter. The shooting happened around 3:30 a.m. at the Martini Bar, a nightclub in City Place, Doral. This violence comes as the U.S. has tailed more than 100 mass shootings this year. Up next, we got some Marywood news. Then Emily Rowe will update us on the upcoming weather.
I'm an actor in an ad that was given 12 seconds to remind you that if you're high, just don't drive. Because if you feel different, you drive different. It's illegal to drive high everywhere anyway.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
As mental health is a struggle for many, Marywood held the Out of Darkness Walk Sunday, April 7th. This walk's purpose is to end the stigma of suicide and spread awareness for mental health. The walk was a good time to remember those that we have lost to suicide, but also walking to remember that nobody has to fight alone. There were raffle baskets along with free snacks.
Marywood Performance Art Department hosted children's theater. For more, we go to Emily Rowe.
Marywood's Performing Arts Department hosted children's theater. This year's show was Little Red Riding Hood. On Thursday and Friday, students performed to children from local elementary schools. On Thursday, they performed for 200 children, and Friday, 900 children. On Saturday, they opened for the public. Children's theater was beloved Marywood annual tradition for over 5 decades. Last year's children's theater was welcomed back after a few years of hiatus.
Don't be afraid of the big bad wolf. Don't be afraid, little red. He's so gruff, but you're so tough. Show it.
I had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Lori Hauser, the director of this year's children's theater.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lori Hauser, and here at Marywood-University I am directing children's theater this year, and our production is Little Red Riding Hood. Well, I thought about a lot of titles when we were choosing this year's show, and this is a show that hasn't been done in a very long time, and it's one that I've never done before, so I thought it would be a nice, sweet fairy tale, and I wanted the opportunity to change the ending, to not have it be too scary for kids. So we took many different versions and kind of mashed them together, and I had a chance to actually write this year's script for our students.
This has been Emily Rowe reporting.
Let's see what's in the forecast for the upcoming week. Over to you, Emily.
Now for this week's forecast. Today it is raining and the high is 63 and a low 42. Now for your 7-day forecast. This week it is low 50s to mid 70s. Saturday and Sunday it is still raining. The rain will dry up on Monday, but the rain will resume on Wednesday and it will rain until Thursday, drying up for Friday. That is all for the weather. When we come back, we will check in with TVM Sports anchor Vincent Goldschmidt to find out the latest in Marywood and professional sports.
I'm an actor in an ad that was given 12 seconds to remind you that if you're high, just don't drive. Because if you feel different, you drive different. It's illegal to drive high everywhere anyway.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW, regular you.
One of the most promising prospects the MLB has ever seen has gotten his call to the show. But before we talk about a future phenom, we'll see what's been happening with Marywood's teams. The Pacers baseball team entered the weekend on a 3-game win streak as they hosted St. Elizabeth University in a doubleheader on their senior day. The Pacers swept the Eagles, but the streak was ended at the hands of Eastern University on Tuesday. The Pacers returned to action as they traveled to Newman University, looking to finish a 3-game sweep of the Knights and an Atlantic East Conference Series finale that had been postponed due to inclement weather. Marywood trailed up until the 7th inning before exploding for 6 runs, but the game wasn't finished as they needed extras to finish the job. In the 11th inning, the Pacers struck for 3 runs, sealing the series sweep 9-6. The Pacers softball team went 5-1 on the week, sweeping Newman University before splitting a doubleheader with Gwen and Mercy University, followed by another sweep against Albright College. The latter of the doubleheader wins against Albright, John Butash notched his 100th victory as Pacers head coach. Over to the turf, both lacrosse teams began conference play with matchups against Newman University and Centenary University. The men's squad dropped a heartbreaker 9-8, while the women's squad was powered by the sophomore duo of Caitlin Smith and Avery Meehan, earning a 15-8 win. Against Centenary, both teams scored over 20 goals in dominating victories, with the men's team having 12 different goal scorers, while Smith set a new program record for goals scored with 10. Switching over to the national scene, the Baltimore Orioles have arguably the best farm system in the MLB, which included MLB's top prospect, Jackson Holliday. The O's made a big move, calling up the son of 7-time All-Star Matt Holliday to the Major League roster. Holliday was the top pick in the 2022 MLB draft and has thrived in the minors, making it across 4 levels in his first full season before starting this season on a tear. Big news coming from college basketball as John Calipari is set to become the new head coach of the University of Arkansas. Calipari had been the head coach of University of Kentucky since 2009, winning 410 games, leading the Wildcats to 12 March Madness appearances and winning the 2012 National Championship. That's all for sports. TVM News will return after these messages.
I'm an actor in an ad that was given 12 seconds to remind you that if you're high, just don't drive. Because if you feel different, you drive different. It's illegal to drive high everywhere anyway.
Unfortunately, this past Sunday, Morgan Wallen found out you can't just throw a chair off of his 6-story building. According to Nashville police, officers were standing outside Chief's Bar on Broadway just before 11:30 p.m. when a chair fell from above and landed just feet from where they were standing. Wallen was arrested after witnesses told police that Wallen was boasting about being the man who threw the chair from the top floor of the 6-story building. Surveillance footage even caught Wallen lunging several items from the roof and was laughing afterwards. He now faces 3 felony charges from 1 to 15 years in prison.
Have you ever thrown a chair off a building?
No, but I think it's on my bucket list now to
Sounds like a plan. Next time you go to Nashville, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Show them up.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of TVM News. From everyone at TV-Marywood, thanks for tuning in.
Be sure to follow TV Marywood's YouTube page and like the TVM Instagram page to stay up to date on the latest happenings and to watch additional content. I'm Casey Jeanette.
And I'm Nate McLean.
Have a great weekend, Marywood.